Okay, today we're going to be looking at past exam questions which focus on the topic of types of variables. Let's have a look, first of all, at some questions from the Northern Hemisphere exam papers. So this one is from this year's Northern Hemisphere exam paper. The variables number of family members and age group are what type of variable? Well, if we look at age group first, we can see that age group is a group or a category. And we can also see that there is some sort of implied order to that category. So 15 to 24 comes before 25 to 34, which comes before the next category. So we can say age group is an ordinal variable, and number of family members is a numerical variable. So we have numerical and ordinal variable respectively, that is option C. Okay, if we look at the 2019 exam paper, we see a very similar question. The variables recovery time after exercise in minutes and fitness level, these categories below average, average, above average, are what? Well, you just heard me say the second one. Fitness level is categorical because we've got three categories in here: below average, average, and above average. And then recovery time after exercise is in minutes. So this is a numerical variable. So the only thing we need to decide now is whether fitness level is nominal or ordinal. And we can say straight away it's going to be ordinal because below average is listed before average, which is listed before above average. There is an implied order. So we have a numerical variable and an ordinal variable respectively. That is option E or answer E. It's very similar to the first question we saw. Okay, let's look at a slightly different one. The variable's height less than 1.83 meters or 1.83 meters and over, and enthusiasm for playing basketball, low, medium, and high, are what? Well, if we start with height, we've got less than 1.83 meters or 1.83 meters and over, and they're very clearly categories. So we've got a categorical variable. Now, this in particular is an ordinal variable because there is an implied order going on. Even though we've only got two options, there is an implied order. Less than 1.83 comes before 1.3 and over. And if we look at the second one, that is also ordinal because low comes before medium, which comes before high. There is an implied order as we step through those options. So in this case, the answer is A. They are both ordinal variables. Okay, let's have a look at another one, again from the Northern Hemisphere paper. The association between the amount of solar energy captured by a solar panel in megajoules and the capital city, Melbourne, Adelaide, etc., in which it is captured, will be investigated. The variables amount of solar energy and capital city are. Well, amount of solar energy is a measured value. It is given to us in megajoules. So that is very clearly a numerical variable. Capital city is definitely not numerical. It is categorical. And it is categorical nominal because there is no implied order to those cities. So we have numerical and nominal variable respectively. And this gives us option D as our answer. Okay, so looking at the 2020 VCAA exam, we see this question from last year. Data relating to the following 5 variables was collected from insects that were caught overnight in a trap. Color, name of species, number of wings, body length in millimeters, body weight in millimeters. The number of these variables that are discrete numerical variables is, well, we can rule out color, that's categorical. Name of species, also categorical. Number of wings, well, that's got to be a whole number. So that is discrete numerical. And the other two, while both being numerical, length and weight, they are actually continuous variables. And so they're not also not what we're after. So the answer is 1. There is one discrete numerical variable. Okay, so question 10 from the same exam. The variables in this study, frequency of nightmares, low and high, and snores, no or yes, are, we've got a list of options. Frequency of nightmares, we can see there are 2 categories, so it is categorical. Snores, again, we can see there are 2 categories, no and yes. Now, we can start off by looking at snores. Snores is a nominal categorical because there is no real implied order to yes and no, particularly given that they've written no first, no and yes, whereas we would typically with our mouths say yes and no, we'd say yes first. But there is no implied order, so that is ordinal. When it comes to frequency of nightmares, we've got low and high, so there is an implied order going on there. So we've got ordinal first and nominal second. So we're looking at option 10, ordinal and nominal respectively. Okay, so looking at question 8 from 2019 exam, Percy conducted a survey of people in his workplace. He constructed a two-way frequency table involving 2 variables. One of the variables was attitude towards shorter working days, either for or against. The other variable could have been, well, the piece of information that we need to know here is that a two-way frequency table is always going to be comparing 2 categorical variables. And we have the first one, attitudes towards shorter working days. That is one categorical variable. We've got to identify the other one. Well, age is numerical. Sex, as in male and female, that is categorical. So that's probably it, but let's just rule out the others. Height, that is numerical. Income, numerical. Time spent traveling to work, numerical. So our answer is B. In the next video, we'll be going through as well, looking at types of graphs and what types of variables they use. But the last past exam question we're going to look at in this video is from the 2017 exam. The variables number of moths. We've got a few categories in here, less than 250, 250 to 500, and more than 500. And trap type, sugar, scent, and light are what? Well, if we look at the first one, number of moths, given that it has the word number, we would think that it's numerical, but it is actually categorical because it's been broken into these 3 categories. And it is ordinal because there is an implied order as we step through those 3 options. Now, trap type, if we look at sugar, scent, and light, there is no implied order to them. So we have the first variable is ordinal and the second variable is nominal. So we have option E, an ordinal variable and a nominal variable respectively. And that is our answer. Okay, brings us to the end of this video. And as I said, in the next video, we'll be going through and looking at types of graphs, as we can see here, such as two-way frequency tables and segmented bar charts and parallel box plots, and what types of variables we compare in those types of charts.